Welcome everyone to episode 308 of Just Joshing, my final episode recorded in the city of Calgary. 308 episodes. I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the end. I think we're just going to go right into the conversation. My guess, it's part 2 of my conversation with Jeremy Verkley. Jeremy Verkley is the voiceover actor you hear doing my commercials each and every month, but he's also a podcaster, a performer, a storyteller, an amazing dude. I thought he'd be a good way to close out my time in Calgary, as I became a big fan of his when I got to interview him, when Kevin and him interviewed me or had me featured on their podcast, which was just a really cool experience. But anyway, left waxing nostalgia. Let's get to the conversation, shall we?
Think you have what it takes? Get your ass to Mars. Gaiatim is a simulation game in which you arrive on Mars ahead of the colonists about to settle into this new home. Until they arrive, you have to survive, facing limited resources and a brand new world filled with unexpected challenges. Can you establish what the colonists need to survive? Or will Mars get the better of you? Gaiatim, the Dragon Edition, launches this November, courtesy of Indie Imprint on Steam and Windows. Check out indieimprint.com for more information.
Excellent. So the recording is officially on.
Okay.
So I'm with Jeremy Verkley, otherwise known as Barry Allen, because he's got the same super talent for being late.
Oh, I feel so bad about it.
Man, don't. Hey, listen, at least you showed up. I mean, so there's a rule about being late, and here's the thing about it.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to be late, you're going to be really late. Because, see, if you're just a little late, they get really, really mad at you. Yeah. But when you, are super, super late, they're just happy you showed up. Right?
I would prefer to be 15 minutes early. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes I let you know, especially because I am transit reliant, so it's not uncommon for me to be a little late.
Oh yeah. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Yeah. It has everything to do with the way I feel about it. When I'm going somewhere with somebody and I'm driving, I go, okay, you ready? And they're like, we don't have to leave yet. We've got a half an hour and it takes 10 minutes to drive there. And I'll be like, no, we need to leave now because I will get considerably more stressed every single minute that passes that we're not getting ready.
Yeah. And then which they look at you and go, okay, I guess we're getting ready now.
And they go, okay. And then they take their time. And then, we're there early. But for me, it's a big mark of respect. I feel terrible when I'm late because I feel like I disrespect the person.
I'm not. I don't quite feel that way when I'm late. I look at it I look at it kind of like, what can I control?
Yeah.
Right. Because again, Calgary being such a large city and the transit being for a large city mediocre.
That's kind of you to say.
No. I can give you some horror stories. I've lived in a lot of places.
I would have said it's awful. So
mediocre. Yeah. I've been in awful. Trust me, this is not awful. Okay. Awful's Detroit. Detroit is awful.
Okay.
We get one bus whenever it feels like it.
Is that where you're from, Detroit?
No, I'm from everywhere. I lived in Detroit. I'm originally from Ontario.
Gotcha.
Born in Oshawa, Ontario. But I've lived in London, Toronto, Windsor, lots of small towns in there.
Yeah.
Detroit.
Did you ever go to Kingston?
I've been there, but I've never actually lived there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Been there, did not live there. As far east as I've actually been, believe it or not.
That is also as far east as I've been.
Yes. Yes, Kingston it's there. I mean, but I mean, my worst bus service has still far and away is Whitby, Ontario.
Okay.
The buses stopped after 6 p.m.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it very sucks. Yes.
That sucks. That reminds me of small town living.
Yeah.
I've lived in Kimberley twice, and everything closes by 4.
Yes.
Except for a couple restaurants.
Yeah, which is like I have something to do for the evening or kind of deal. Yeah. No, and there's nothing wrong with small town living, but when you're literally a metropolitan of Toronto, that's what you are now.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, no, that really sucks.
Yeah. So my version of terrible is probably lower than a lot of other people's.
Yeah, that's fair.
Calgary is mediocre because it doesn't have the infrastructure, and you can see that the infrastructure that should be there is not there.
Yeah.
They built first and didn't really think about infrastructure.
Well, the interesting thing about history for Calgary in terms of infrastructure and travel is that back when we were 500,000 people, they built a bunch of things that were, okay, this will last us till about 1 million people. But as we approached 1 million people, they didn't change anything.
No.
So now we're overloaded on a bunch of things. This is why Deerfoot is so terrible, because it's meant for that threshold of 1 million people, and we're way over that now.
Well, that is the only road that goes north and south. If like the ring road's a good idea, but they actually should already be building the second ring road, the one that goes from Okotoks to Airdrie, right? Right.
Yep.
So they should build that now.
Yeah.
And save a lot of grief later.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that.
Well, we're too far behind the ball now that we're playing catch up.
Yeah. Well, we're always going to play catch up. So at some point, you got to be like, okay, we'll bite the bullet. Let's get ahead here.
Yeah.
We'll get our asses kicked for about a year.
Yeah.
And then, but after a year,
that's a hard pill to swallow for people who get upset when they fund public art in the city.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
But
I know. But I know. It's just one of those. We live in a very, very, very weird time in that no one thinks. No one.
Yeah.
And like I was looking at today, while I was waiting for you, I was looking at some of the things that were going on in the world today, and I'm seeing the same. I don't want to sound like I'm very insensitive to the mass shootings, because I'm not. I mean, it's terrible.
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But everybody gives me, once these things all happen,
it's the same thing.
It's the same thing over and over again. And for me, it's like, okay, let's really think about this.
Yeah.
Right? The problem is the guns, but it's actually the symptom. The real problem is you have a country that basically makes most of its money off military contracts.
Yeah.
Right? And because it makes most of its money that way.
Well, one that way. I would say that a second really big contributing factor is that they've built it in not only to their education system, but their constitution, that the government is an enemy.
But but that's actually, oddly enough, that is actually true now.
Yeah.
Right. That too.
Yeah.
Right. So all that, like networking, that's the other one, right?
Yep.
I have all these skills that I've pretty much taught on my own.
Yeah.
I know they're worth something.
Yeah.
I know it, and so it's just like, let's see what I can get with this.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have the same problems working in the film industry you do, but then again, I'm going to be behind the camera, not in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So it's like, although oddly, still there's a lot standing around even behind the camera, but.
Well, the thing is, what doesn't work for me works for somebody else.
Exactly, and actually, I respect your second reason. Like, I understand why that would drive me crazy too.
Yeah.
If I was an actor, I would be. I hate my life some days. Right.
A lot of actors, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's not a problem for. But I crave.
You like that? Yeah.
One of my favorite memories ever when I was in university, I was in the lead of a show called Don Juan in Chicago, and in the first scene of the show, I summoned the devil, summoned Mephistopheles to make a deal with him, and I'm doing this Latin on stage, and the trapdoor is supposed to open, fog comes out, he climbs up out, and we start the scene. I finish the Latin, and all I hear is the jiggle of the trap door as it is stuck shut. That can never happen in film. Yeah. So we had to improvise, and it's funny because I did the summoning again, and then the entire audience heard my scene partner, Mephistopheles, run from understage all the way around the stage, up the wing, run face first into the door that was the set dressing, and then open up the door and step in and be like, I'm here. Which is great. I've also done shows where someone's supposed to open a door and run out all frustrated, and he walked up to the door, pulled the doorknob, and the doorknob came out of the door, and he just screamed because what do you do? He can't get out the door he's supposed to get out, and that is the stuff that I think makes theater magic.
Well, absolutely. No, it's improv. Yeah. It's storytelling, but it's also, the fact that it's alive. Like, you're not on a net. There's no net. You guys are as prepared as you possibly can be.
Yeah, the net is the skill of the performer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. There's no other net.
Yeah.
Things go wrong. Yeah. All the time.
Yeah.
Whereas that's why you hate hate the film. Now I get why you hate it. It's not that...
It's too manufactured for me.
Yeah. That's why you hate it. It's not even the fact that you're there the way you're there. It's the fact that...
Well, I mean, the time waiting would also drive me crazy.
No, it's annoying, but I think you could probably... If there was that ability to improvise on the cue... Now, some directors are good that way. They're great that way. But not every director is. And also, there's also just reality of to that, especially if you're on a television show. Yeah. You only have X amount of time to get this done because everything costs money.
Yeah.
That's reality. That's the reality.
It is the reality.
That's the reality. So, the editor might want you to be able to play with it, but...
but that film costs money.
We don't have that time.
Yeah.
Although I do love it. I think my favorite film, one of my favorite film things was Heath Ledger as the Joker, about to blow up the hospital, and he presses the button, and he's like, nope. And then all of a sudden it goes, oh, it's finally going on. It's like, they kept that in the film, and I'm like, that's completely improv, because you know, right? It was supposed to be like, click, boom. Instead of like, no, because it actually added just a touch of realism into that movie.
It did.
Right?
It did. A lot of legendary scenes in film are the ones where they were rolling and something happened that they couldn't control, but the actor chose to stay in it and react and the director didn't just cut. And that takes a performer and a director to recognize that there's still value in those failures.
You're talking to me is one of the all-time most famous examples of this.
Exactly.
Right.
Or the Indiana Jones sword fight guy.
The guy getting shot. Right. It just was like, you know what? It made total sense.
It does.
Right.
And it's such a big character moment for Indiana in that movie.
Yes, and it wouldn't have happened if Harrison hadn't broken his leg.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we got to do this scene still. Okay, we got to figure this out. Okay, I got a solution. Roll it. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that works, right? And it's like I said, it's the problem-solving aspect of it. That you like solving problems. You enjoy the problem-solving.
I am definitely a problem solver. It's something that I've had to, in my social life, realize a lot of times people are not looking for a solution.
Yes. Well. See, I'm really. See, this is it's a character flaw I do share.
Yeah.
I'm of two minds of it, right? So I get sometimes you need that vent to complain.
Yeah.
I think what gets me about it is there comes a point.
Well, here's the thing: if you come to me 3-4 times a year, and you just need acceptance, and you just need to vent, you just need to feel like somebody understands what you're going through, that's totally cool. If you come to me once a week and do the same thing, after about 2 weeks, I go, okay, listen, this is the thing you do to solve the problem. You just don't want to do it because it's hard work.
Well, actually, or it's just a day in, day out. Like when I remember, I had a friend. He no longer lives in Calgary.
Yeah.
He was going through something similar I went through in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I sympathized with him at first.
Yeah.
But when you're I went through it. It was shit.
Yeah.
But I never complained every day. He'd wake up, I'd look at my Facebook. He'd be like these big giant diatribes before I complain. And after a while, I just looked at it. I got sick of it because it's like, dude, you know what you need to do it. Well, especially when he went to me. It's like, I have a deadline, so then you gotta do this.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck you. It's like, no, man. What do you want?
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, also, it's at that point I did a lot of cultivating of my social media and my social life over the last couple years, and I find that the number one thing that improved my life was taking the people who had made their lives about a singular issue and removing them.
Yes.
Not that I don't have love for some of those people, but when your presence is only one thing, even if that thing has value, it diminishes in value very quickly if that's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why I'm not super active on Twitter and on Facebook is because I only want to put stuff up on there that I think is genuinely funny or, important to say. And I don't want it to be all about one thing.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. It's one of the best ways to build yourself up, but it's also got a very toxic side to it. I try to, like you were talking about the shootings today. I made my only comment, which is I recognize the problem in the system, and that's all I'm going to say. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say, because it's the only constructive thing I can add to the conversation.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right? And beyond that, move on. It's not that I don't care. It's just that, like, anything else is just a knee-jerk reaction, one way or the other. And so going back to that, so I try to keep my Facebook relatively positive.
Yeah.
I started doing the motivational thing, and people seem to really like that. And I talk about Bailey's and ice cream and unicorn pens and my podcast and any creative projects I may be involved in. That's it. And that's what I focus on. I don't worry about anything else.
Yeah.
And people seem to like it.
I mean, if you are putting out good energy, I think the people who are looking for something to be upset about can't, like, they might show up sometimes. They're not going to stick around, especially if you don't feed them.
Yeah. No, you don't feed the trolls.
Yeah.
You don't feed the trolls.
Yeah.
I've dealt with one troll in my life so far, and it was really simple. I let them complain, and I just got, so, are you done? Mm-hmm. That was it. It's like, are you done? Mm-hmm. It's like, no. Okay, when you're done, let me know, then we'll talk.
Yeah.
That was it. It's surprisingly effective when you ask your attitude.
Well, also, I think that we need more of that in the world. Mm-hmm. I took a lot of flack for this in my friend group at the time, but do you remember when that Nazi got punched? Mm-hmm. And everyone was like, yeah, punch all Nazis. And I was like, that is not going to take that person and make them re-examine their beliefs.
No.
That makes them feel justified. These people are feeling like they're on the outside, that they're being discriminated against, whether or not it's true.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. That's how they feel.
And you're actually validating it by actually punching them in the face.
You are. You're solidifying their internal cause. So, wouldn't it be better to try and talk to that person and introduce them to the breadth of experience the world has to offer?
I love this. There's this woman, and she did a TED talk about her time living in a cult and how actually she got out of it. Someone on Twitter talked to her about life. It took a long time. Yeah. But the fact that there was an engagement, there was a back and forth engagement, it made her realize that there was more to the world. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people have beliefs and have ideals just based on the fact of what they know and what they see. Yeah. And the reality of the situation is there's a lot more to the world than anyone sees. And if you give people a glimpse of that, right, it changes them. If you give them that glimpse.
Well, and the other thing is that, people are smart, people are stupid, but nobody's really dumb. Mm-hmm. If you don't have to spell things out, if you just show. And you can show in a multitude of ways, and one of which is just to engage. Yes. In a safe way, and maybe they're not ready to engage. I'm not telling everybody to go out and find white supremacists and Nazis and start talking to them on Twitter, right? Because some people aren't ready to engage. But for a long time, when I was going through, I guess, my late teens, early 20s. I'm a straight white man, but I'm also a feminist, but you can't tell that by looking at me. So I used to go in social situations, and someone would say something incredibly misogynistic, or, racist or whatever, and I would just start talking to them about it and be like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And just talking, and I'd be inserting feminist opinions, but because I was not labeled a feminist, they'd come away with more understanding, right? And then the next time I saw them, they weren't as misogynistic, because it's not a switch. No. Right? It's a ramp where people slowly walk down it, right, and slowly change. It's not the person who is completely enlightened in whatever topic it might be is not the person that gets the person who's around in the muck to change. It's the person who's, slightly out of the muck, just on the shoreline, that gets them to take the first step.
Yep. And as you progress, the people you meet change.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other thing, like I've done a quiet call. I applied one very simple rule to my life.
Yeah.
And it has called a lot of junk out of it, and that's this: I chase no one.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to Kevin, and last night, and he goes, "Well, it must be easy for you." He's like, "Actually, no. It's just all I did was I made a girl. Like, I wanted to get you on the podcast. I made an effort to get you on the podcast. I asked if you wanted to come."
Yeah.
If you had completely no-showed, and I'm not trying to belly your heart, if you had completely no-showed, that would have been the end of my effort from the situation.
Well, and that's totally understandable.
Right?
Yeah.
But once upon a time, that wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
But now that is it, right? Everybody's I go, hey, let's hang out. So like I keep my door open for anybody that wants to walk through it.
Yeah.
But I don't chase you if you don't walk through.
Well, there's too many people who want to be in your life, and too many people who will show to spend your energy on the people who won't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that took a while to actually fully get that in my head.
Yeah.
But it's funny because people who I thought I was close to, they've drifted away a little bit.
Yeah.
And other people, and then there's the kind of people I've met in the last year or two have been incredible.
Yeah.
Right? I get to talk to, literally, I hung out with a rock band. We talked about stone flies, and they're on a podcast. I mean, that's an experience, man. That was a crazy, crazy night. Right, and then I get to meet people who have really succeeded. Like I got to have Kelly Armstrong on my podcast this year. Just these incredible people have done amazing things.
Yeah.
And I think if I hadn't made those changes, I wouldn't have seen those people.
No, because you'd be spending your energy on the other people.
Exactly.
There's a couple of people who I love, dearly love, but I wait for them to come to me because my experience has shown me that if I want them to come to me, I've got to put in 1,000 times the effort.
Yes.
And you have a limited amount.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody has a limited amount of fucks that they can give every day.
Yes.
And sometimes it's more and sometimes it's less.
Oh, yeah.
But at a certain point, you've got to start using your fucks efficiently.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's the absolute truth.
Yeah.
Right, I'm approaching 40. I'm like, I gotta, and that's just it, right? And it's just, I recognized, so when someone goes to me, hey, let's have a drink, I'm open to it. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I'm like, well, I'll tell you what, when you're ready to do it, give me a shout. And that's it. And that's how I do it. I no longer worry about it.
Yeah.
All right. I realize that people do exactly what they want to do, even if they don't realize it at the time.
Yeah.
They are doing exactly what they want to do, and
100%.
And I let them. It's rule 6 of 8 actually of my life, of my 8 rules. I don't know if you've seen my 8 rules. Or
I think I've seen it once or twice.
Do you want to hear them?
Sure. Lay on these rules.
Rule 1: show up.
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
Success. I'm late, but I'm here.
Rule 2: do your shit.
Well, I was doing chores before this.
Yeah. Rule 3: don't quit.
Well, I'm still here.
Rule 4: the rest is rain.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get that one?
Yeah, it means that once you start the ball rolling, it'll come.
Sort of. Rule 5: get out of your fucking way.
That is super hard to do.
No, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Rules 1 and Rule 5
Yeah.
are the 2 rules people break the most.
Yeah.
They're the 2 rules. They're very connected together, actually.
They're hard to keep, and they're easy to shoo off.
Yeah. Rule 6: no excuses. You do exactly what you want to do all the time.
Yeah.
Rule 7: be charitable, be grateful. No one owes you anything, and always remember to pay it forward.
Yeah.
And Rule 8: stay uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
The rest is rain. I look at it like it's the paradox of success.
Yeah.
You can do everything right and still not succeed. Like the results, your results will vary activity to activity.
Yep.
You can't control that.
Yeah.
All you can do is put yourself in the best position possible that you know how to succeed.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, more often than not, you will succeed.
Yeah.
But you will still fail from time to time as well.
And you know what? An important thing to learn this is another thing from my theater degree,
Yeah.
is that when you fail, it is the best opportunity for you to learn.
Absolutely.
And not only that, once you stop fearing failure as an endpoint, and start accepting it more as the learning experience it is, failure becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah, it can be.
I said more fun. I didn't say it was fun.
No, sometimes it is very fun.
Yeah, sometimes it's lots of fun.
Sometimes it's so spectacular, you just cannot help but look at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But other times.
Other times it's crushing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I find, you know what? It's not that people fear failure. I find people actually fear success.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's not failure, it's success, because I was talking to a comic book artist. He's drawing one of my favorite comics from Green Lantern right now.
Yeah.
He goes, it feels surreal. It's like, yeah, I know. And this, I literally a week ago, I can say this. My podcast is in a video game. I mean, that sounds surreal to me.
Yeah.
But then I realized I did everything I set out to do. Everything I've done has led me to this point.
Yeah.
It's not like I didn't earn it. I did earn this. I do deserve this.
Yeah.
Because this now, would I have anticipated? No. Right.
Yeah.
You can't do it. But I did everything I've done has led me to this.
Yeah.
So that's good. Now where will it lead me? Right?
Yeah.
And that's the getting out of your own way part of out of this is you recognize when you are succeeding. You realize that what got you here.
Yeah.
Do those things.
Yep.
And whatever part of you that feels like an imposter right now, right?
Yeah.
Acknowledge to that imposter, yes, I think this is crazy too.
Yeah.
Right. But then you let that say, but you and me need to go over here because I want to see what other crazy will come through that door.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's really hard for people to really grasp that lesson, because the other thing too, failure is familiar.
Yeah.
Success is not.
Well,
for a lot of people.
And success is change.
Yes.
And change is scary. But I think one of the best pieces of advice I ever got is again from theater school. Go to theater school, lots of good advice. Is that almost every single emotion is a flip side of another emotion.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of people talk about stage fright and the amount of nervousness and anxiety people get before going out on stage. But how close is that to excitement?
Actually,
it's really the same thing.
Well, the flip side of fear is faith.
Yeah.
It's almost the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in God. Okay, but you can't prove it because there's no God that you can see visibly.
Yeah.
Right. You're talking to an imaginary person in your head, right? That's one end of that equation.
Yeah, 100%.
But the other end of the equation is it might be real.
It could.
It might actually be completely real, and you know what? I'm not the crazy one you are because you're missing out on this, right?
Yeah.
That's the paradox.
One of my favorite conversations I've ever had is when I was just out of university. My roommates went to the new Mormon church before it opened.
Okay.
Which is like the only time they'll let you in the inner sanctum without being a Mormon. And so they went, but to get in, they had to give our address.
Yeah.
So we were going to get Mormons visiting us, trying to convert us. And then, sure enough, they came and they talked to each of my roommates. And then finally, one day, they came up to me because I was usually in my pajama pants writing. And they're like, "Hey, do you have a minute to talk?" And I was like, "Sure, man. Like, let's talk. Let's shoot the shit. Let's do whatever." And they're like, "So, how do you feel about God?" And I was like, "Could exist, could not exist, could also just be aliens. I don't know." And they couldn't. It almost stopped the conversation because they couldn't understand a non-binary way of looking at it.
It's an agnostic perspective. I actually I do believe in God.
Yeah.
But I respect. See, for me, one I have a hard time accepting is the atheistic point of view. But the agnostic one, I can totally understand it, right? Because you're not saying there isn't. You're not saying there is. But you're just saying you're not sure. But there's a certain open-mindedness to it, right?
I think specifically what I'm saying about it
Yeah.
is that whatever is out there, because I believe that there has to be something else out there, whether that is another life form or civilization or a higher power or anything like that, right? Whatever is out there, we have the chances of us understanding or discovering the pathway to that is minuscule. And I'm not saying that we haven't, because there's still a chance.
But again, you're open-minded, right? But that's the thing, right? I get that.
Yeah.
Like I understand that, right? Right. So for me, I've always struggled with when there's just no way.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Like I don't like that's just my thing. But again, I'm also a big enough person in this world to understand that, you know what? There's all kinds of walks of life out there.
Yeah.
And not all of it's for me. And that's a good thing, actually.
What I like to do is when somebody's like, no man, we're just all gonna end up plant food. Like that's what's gonna happen, right? And then in the back of my head, I like to think when somebody makes that sort of declarative statement, I'll be like, but wouldn't it be interesting if God was actually just a hive mind of all the plants?
Yes.
Like,
well, no, I mean, which is entirely a possibility,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think my favorite atheist commentary was a guy by the name of James Morrow. He wrote a book about the daughter of Christ, and she meets God in the ocean as a sponge.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what?
Possible.
You know, because the one thing is because he was an atheist that actively thought about God.
Yeah.
And he goes if you do, I mean, I respect that. You know, I don't fully understand it. I do respect. You think about God a lot when you're an atheist. And this is just that particular story. That was where that was the only place it could go. And I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and again, it's a different world out there. I've doing this podcast has been great because I have met so many different kinds of people.
Yeah.
Again, I don't try to convert anybody. I have my list. You have yours. That's cool. We'll have a beer when it's all said and done. I don't really care, right?
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I just recognize if I'm right and there's a God.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of God I want. Someone that allows all these different kinds of people.
Yeah. It's the way I feel about it. If there is something up there that cares about how we're acting, I'm going to act in the way that I feel I would want them to want me to act.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? And I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot better than trying to follow it. Even the Bible says no one can follow all these rules.
Yeah.
It's fixing in the Bible. It's like, you're not going to do it. So
that's a great intro.
No, it's true. It's in there. It's like no one can do it.
Yeah.
So don't. So I mean, it's not about the rules. It's about It's not really about the rules.
What fascinates me about the people who have very strict ideologies when it comes to religion is when you're having a conversation with them and like their reality seeps through a little bit. And what I mean by that is they don't realize that they're doing something that only somebody with their set of beliefs could do.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Jehovah's Witness is at the door and I say, well, everybody's got to do something while they live. Like they got to work, they got to live, they got to have hobbies, right? The Jehovah's Witness gave the best answer I've ever heard to that, which was for now. Because they believe that the world is going to end and that there's going to be a certain amount of people who get access to heaven, right? And you can't say for now to that unless you believe the world is ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do believe like civilization as we know it is evolving and maybe collapsing as we know it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the world, I somehow feel this world is still going to be here long after we're gone.
Oh yeah, the Earth will be fine.
Yes. Until until the sun dies.
Yeah.
Until the sun dies, I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Humans, we're fucked. But
Yeah, totally.
The Earth will be fine. The Earth's been fine for billions of years.
Yeah. it'll come up with some wonderful way to wipe us all out if we get too far out of line, and then the next. Now there's no nihilism for you right there.
I mean, honestly, I'd say probably about once a month. I feel like within 80 years, the human race and civilization as we know it will come to an end, and humans might survive and we might not. But hey. Good run.
I knew we were a collapsing civilization back in ancient history class when I was in high school. Because talk about why Rome declined and fell.
Yeah.
And it didn't take much of a genius to look at what's going on today.
Yeah.
And you're like
draw parallels.
Well, there are a lot of really scary parallels. And then I happened to read George Orwell right after that.
Yeah.
And his nonfiction, not his fiction, his nonfiction's depressing.
Yeah.
Like really, really depressing.
I believe that.
Yeah. But he's not wrong on some things.
No.
Right, at all. And the thing is, you read that, you see it, it's like, yeah, no, it's inevitable. It's going to collapse. Now, what it could lead to is the interesting question. See, I have two possibilities. Extinction. It's there. I mean, I would like inevitable extinction.
Yeah.
But there's also a possibility too, because if you look around, you have lots of little neat ways of neat problems being solved in very creative ways. If you look, the solutions are there.
There are people doing work because they see the path to destruction.
Yes.
And they go, we can still change this.
Yes, absolutely. And it's going on like right now, like in Ireland, they figured out how to use the ocean to grow food.
Yeah.
That the oceans are pretty big. Like the oceans are pretty big.
Yeah.
And I mean, it'll take us a long time to fuck that up, if nothing else, right? So
I mean, we're pretty close already.
Yeah. No. Well, actually, that's interesting. We don't actually fully know. Like we know we've polluted the crap out of it, but on the same token, we don't know what everything that's in the oceans either.
Here's the thing that scares me the most about where the ocean's at, is that there are portions of the ocean now that are devoid of life. And that doesn't sound like a big deal because most people look at the ocean and they go, it's huge. The chances of you having a fish or something.
But even if the ocean was at a 5% void life, that's frightening. That's actually very frightening.
It is.
Even if it's at 5%. I don't think it's a big number still.
Well, the scary part is that as they've monitored these spots where it's devoid of life, they grow out.
Yes.
They eat the life around them. They're a negative force, and nobody currently has an idea how to reverse that.
It's like desertification of it's like when
it's a desertification of the ocean.
Yes. No. Exactly. Which if you look at, like, for example, Rome, you look at Africa, you look at all the like ancient times. All that was fertile land at one point.
Yeah.
And all that was fertile land, and it was completely obliterated.
Yep.
Right.
And the thing that stopped that was a change in geography.
Yes.
Right. Drastic change in geography. But the ocean is the ocean. It doesn't have the same type of geography, right? Like, you could say that there's huge canyons and trenches. You could say that there's currents, but they work so differently than what happens on land because of the volume and viscosity of water as compared to air, that everyone is kind of
Well, but again, it might be we're turning our ocean into a different kind of desert, which is a frightening truth.
Yep.
Desertification, I mean, is still going on in the world. Like, you look at India, you look at China right now, especially India. India is actually notoriously bad for it right now because
it's very close to happening to huge portions of America too.
Oh, absolutely. No, it has started to. Yes. The problems we're facing right now are that we are not dealing with the fact that our source of power can no longer sustain our way of life. We have to make some change. Now, it's at the point where we can still make changes.
Yeah.
And it will be fine.
Yeah.
But right now, no one's looking at those problems that way.
Are the changes happening fast enough right now?
No. But the thing is, even though, like, these are the problems we're seeing, right?
Yeah.
I do believe too, based on what I'm seeing, there's hope. There is hope. We could go into another renaissance, which I think is a really neat, cool thing.
Well, I think because usually
Yeah.
when you take the two extremes of what's going to happen, in two extremes in this case being everything is screwed and we're all dead, and the other being it's all fine and this is just a natural cycle, it usually ends up somewhere in the middle.
Yes. Something gets lost, something gets gained.
Yeah.
And that's usually how it works. However, that all said, I have no idea what to expect, and I think that's one of the things we're looking at. Like, we're looking at the fact too that the United States is collapsing as a culture, and you can see it, and you're like, we're I see this meme occasionally of this car driving by that's on fire.
Yeah.
That's everybody watching the United States. It's like it's on fire. It's like this is a spectacular show, but wherever it stops, this is not going to end well.
No, it's not.
No,
It's not.
and that's
I don't know if you ever studied this sort of thought, but I forget what it's called. But basically, there's the idea of population scarcity,
yes.
right? And populations grow and grow and grow and grow until they reach a critical mass, and then there'd be a collapse. And that happened all throughout history.
Yeah, absolutely.
Famines, plagues, war. All of those things would happen, but then a couple things happened. One, antibiotics. Two, discovery of microorganisms. And those two things combined raised the level of humans that could be sustained.
That's part of it. It's not the whole. The other factor is, again, I mentioned this earlier, when we discovered oil and we figured out how to turn on the lights.
Yeah.
That changed culture significantly.
100%.
The micro step is
We've added
Yeah.
continuously to the limit to the number of humans that can be sustained.
Yeah.
But make no mistake, there's still a limit.
Absolutely. Well, here's the
And
thing.
it's not about the amount of food we can produce or the space.
No.
Yeah.
There's a limit. There's also,
Yeah.
but there's also the flip side too. It's how we proportion things too.
Mhm.
The reality is the days of 90% of the wealth being in like 10% of the space.
Yeah.
That has to go.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't. But the thing is, this goes back to something I said at the very beginning. You got someone that's afraid to lose something,
Yeah.
and you create this problem.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on right now, specifically there.
What I want to tell every one of those like people who have all the wealth is like, hey, don't you want more friends? Don't you want more people that you can relate to? Don't you want more people that understand your points of views? Because the way to do that is to spread your wealth.
Well, actually, my approach would be different. Do you want more wealth? Wait, what? Spread it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it actually works. The more you spread it, the more actual wealth you create.
Well, imagine how many smart people you've met over the course of your life who could affect lots of change, positive change, but they don't have the skills, or they don't have
The
opportunities, or they don't have the situation that allows them to build those things.
Yep.
Right? Almost everybody I know has something to offer to improve the world.
Absolutely.
But instead they're struggling to make rent.
Which again, because it's easier to stay on top.
Yep.
If you have people in that situation.
Yeah.
The flip side is though you inevitably you collapse with them because you're not.
They're what's holding you up.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So, I feel like we have an interview here, Mr. Jeremy. What do you think?
What?
I feel like we have an interview here.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's your show.
Yeah. I just figured, are you okay with this?
Yeah.
All right. So how about this? Plug what you're working on right now.
Okay.
And how can people find you? And yes, he will answer you if you bug him.
I will.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Okay, so the main thing that you can catch me on is The Third Space with Jeremy Verkley and Kevin Weir, which is our weekly podcast. It's world building. It's a comedy podcast. I promise it doesn't get as dark as this most of the time. If you want to see sort of the stuff I am interested in writing, there's some articles online. You can find me at The Guys From, before the editor sort of closed up shop there, but everything's still online. Like I said, I work on so many different things. My problem is...
So plug what's going on right now.
But the thing is that those are the things that are happening right now. But I have 2 role-playing games, a novel, a children's novel, more ideas for the podcast, another podcast, maybe. Like, so much stuff.
So when you promote, so the promotion lesson 101, for what you actually have concretely, and then don't worry about the rest of it, right? So Third Space, when does it air?
It comes out on Sundays.
Okay.
So it's ready for your week or a lazy Sunday evening.
Yes, all right. Fair enough. And Twitter, social media.
You can reach me on Twitter at Mighty Hughes. That's MITG. No, it's not how you spell it. MIGHTYTHEWS. Which is a very old joke, and I will explain it to you if you ever ask me. Or you can email, I guess, our podcast, just thirdspacepodcast@gmail.com.
Cool.
This episode of Just Joshing is sponsored by Indie Imprint. Indie Imprint supports creators by creators. Whether you are writing a book or creating a video game, Indie Imprint works with its clients to produce, edit, and present their projects to the world. For more information, check out their website at www.indieimprint.com.
And that was my conversation with Jeremy Verkley. Check out Third Space Podcast. It airs every Sunday. It is a fantastic show. If you are a storyteller, this is one of the coolest world-building podcasts, and they're amazing live. Kevin and Jeremy are two funny, creative individuals. I'm very honored to have gotten the chance to meet and talk to them both. Next part of this, I might get a little sappy. So you want to get to the end credits, get to the end credits. This isn't going to be quite a typical ending from here on in. This is kind of an end of an era. Right now I'm still in the house that by this time this airs, I will be long left behind. And Calgary's just about going out the door. Once this is done, I'm on a plane. I'm going to be in Kelowna for a couple days. And then I'm going to settle to my new life in BC. As of this recording, I don't know where I'm going to live just yet, but I will live there. And I can't wait to start my life, or new life, or old life, or whatever the case may be. I've talked about why I've done this in the past. Change is inevitable. Change is necessary for us all. And for me personally, I don't want to have a voice in my head that goes, what if? I want to see what happens. I want to take chances. I want to fail. I want to grow. I want to become more of who I am. And you don't do those things settling down. Doesn't mean no to relationships. Doesn't mean no to that. It just means that there was a quote I read from Joe Rogan, from a guy by the name of Thoreau, about the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. My desperation is not to be a lot louder, a lot more relevant, a lot realer. And that's it. I'd want to make an impact, and that's been my thing for a very long time. I think I've succeeded, but I would be lying if I said that this place didn't impact me. I'm always thankful, but I think I'm going to do this a little differently than I had planned. To the beginning, I wish I had a chance to close some doors before I walked out, but that's not how life works. You don't always get the closure you're looking for. Sometimes you just have to accept this is what is, and wish everyone well and move on. So to the people whose friendships have grown apart, to the people who are going through their hard times, right, their own hard times, their own struggles, to the people that have fallen away from my life in the last few years, I'm sorry for my part in it, but I wish you well. I love you, and I'm rooting for you. And if I was toxic, I apologize. I have learned so much from so many people, and to thank them all singly, it would be, I think, a disservice. Some people have been on the show, some people who have never been on the show. I've grown into my own man in Calgary, Alberta. I love my dad. There's almost like and I always will be a bit of a worship hero. My dad's my hero. But this has been great because the older I get, the more I do on my own, I see the differences, and I'm happy for them. I don't want to be my dad. I want to be me. And I'm being very honest when I say that. I think one of the things about us as kids becoming adults is we see our parents in ourselves. And that's not always a bad thing. I see elements of my mom in me too that I'm really, really proud of. And you see things you don't like about both parents. Not just, and you try to do your best to change and grow. And I've had this opportunity here. And I'm thankful for the experiences I've had. I'm thankful for the life I've chosen. I'm thankful for the people I've met. I thank God very much for everything that's happened. Wouldn't change a thing. Going forward, I don't know what's next. This is going to be exciting. I mean, podcast is going to continue. 309 will air. Might be my first one in BC. Might be a little bit late. Like I said, might be about a week late. I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. It's going to be a couple weeks before I get my full bearings. But, yeah. This was a very cool era in my life, and I am very happy with everything I've done. And if you've been a part of it, thank you very, very much. Alright. It's time to go. Leaving on a jet plane. I don't know if I'll ever be back again. And that's say, I mean, this is my second time living in Calgary. There might be a third. I don't know. Who knows? I don't think it's going to be for a long time, though. And so, peace, guys. It was a pleasure. It truly was. Take care of yourselves. Follow. If there's one thing I've hoped I've done for everybody, is I've encouraged you to follow the life you choose. If I've done that, I did right. I did all right in this world. I did all right in this place. All right, guys. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.
Josh. Shush.